Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about Sunderland's trip to Nottingham Forest, previewing that game, predicting a lineup and looking at what threats Nottingham Forest have. So if you enjoy the video, please leave a like. Please comment as well your score predictions. I would love to see them. Let's dive into the video. So Sunderland travelled to the City Ground for the first time since 2017, and actually it feels like Nottingham Forest are a team we haven't actually played a great deal. We haven't played them in the Premier League since 1997, which was the season we got relegated before moving to the stable. Like, that's how long ago that was. We won on our last visit there 1-0, an Aidan McGeady header in that dreadful 17-18 season. But there you go, that was a bright spot. I think it was just before the New Year, roughly between Christmas and New Year, somewhere around there. But anyway, that was the last time we went there. We actually won the game 1-0. And boy, would we take a 1-0 win this weekend. Let's talk initially about the news coming out of Sunderland that Habib Diarra is injured until December. That is clearly a massive blow for Sunderland. And Habib Diarra, look, I think he's settled pretty well in the Premier League. I don't think we've seen the best from him yet. And I think it's unfortunate because, you know, this midfield three we've got of Diarra, Siddiqui and Xhaka will have been getting better and better and better with every single game. So it's a massive blow to lose him until December. Then is he going to go to AFCON? I think if you're Habib Diarra, you're probably targeting to be back, you know, for AFCON. So in his head, you know, maybe that's his, you know, just his goal, you know, try and get back for that competition. Maybe we see him for like the last game before AFCON, Newcastle potentially. Obviously a big one, so you might want to be back for that one. So yeah, I would say that we won't see Habib Diarra probably until after the new year. Certainly not back at his best until the new year. So that is a massive blow. We've also obviously lost Ronaldo as well, which, you know, due to suspension, which is annoying, frustrating, but all this does is it gives chances for other players in the squad to shine. We're obviously going to talk about how I think we'll line up for this game. But you look at Chris Rigg, you look at Dan Neil in them central areas, you look at Enzo Lefebvre, you look at Adingra, because if Lefebvre plays centrally, then Adingra can probably get in on the left. There's a lot of opportunities now because of this injury. So hopefully we'll see players, you know, pick up their levels. Rigg, when he played in place of Diarra last weekend, I thought looked really good for the 30 minutes he got on the field. Created a really good chance for Wilson Isidore, and he had a few nice touches in there. So, yes, it's a blow. It's significant. This is our record signing. It's not like we're losing a fringe player here. This is meant to be one of our star men who'll start pretty much every single game. He's out. It is what it is. But we've got players that can take, you know, the mantle and really, really make that position their own. And that's what you have squad depth for. That's why we built this team. We bought in a lot of midfielders this summer so that, you know, if we had injuries, we have good depths, and it's next man up. That has to be the mentality. And then Ronaldo getting out injured, that opens up the chance for Masuaku to come in. It opens the chance for, Ronaldo suspended. I say injured, suspended. Anyway, Ronaldo's out. Serkin, when he gets back after the international break, he's got a chance then to really push and make that position his own. And it means that we can potentially move things around defensively, which we'll get into when we do the team lineup. But yeah, losing players isn't ideal, but this is why we have squad depth, and I'm really interested to see the players who take their opportunity now it's been presented to them. So in terms of the team lineup, I'm going to talk about how I would line up. Then I'm going to talk about how I actually think the manager will line up, because I think they're two different things. And what I am proposing, which I'll put up on the screen, is a radical change of system, but not that radical. Basically moving to a 5 at the back, and you'll see how I've set it up here. I've went with a back 5 of Masuaku, Alderete, Ballard, Mukwele, and then I've went with Trey Hume as well. I've went with Siddiqui and Xhaka in the middle, and then I've went with Rigg and Lefebvre. They're kind of on the wing, but kind of not. I think, in my opinion, I think I've probably got them also the wrong way around. So Lefebvre should be on the left, but is what it is. And then Isidore through the middle. But basically what I'm saying with this team selection is that we will have two central midfielders that will sit and protect and control that midfield area. Then Rigg and Lefebvre will probably be a bit more free roam around the place, and will support Wilson Isidore, but can also tuck in to give us that sort of defensive solidity, can help on the wings as well with Masuaku and Hume. So that's kind of what I'm looking at for this game in terms of how I would approach it. And, you know, I look at this, I look at what we've got in terms of injuries. Getting Ballard, Alderete and Mukwele into the side is going to be really important for us on defensive set pieces and offensive set pieces. That's why I want to try and get the three of them in there. I also think it'll help deal with Forest attacking threats. They like to be a counter-attacking team, or they certainly did under Nuno. But even under Ange, are they going to target counter-attacks? Are they going to try and, really pin us in? Does having 3 centre-backs help us deal with those threats? And I think the answer to that question is yes. We're going to jam up the middle of the field there, really make it difficult for Forest to sort of penetrate us, and then we can break. We don't want to let Forest get in behind us. That's basically the crux of what the game plan should be. We don't want them to hurt us, get in, with players like Callum Hudson-Odoi and break through our defensive line. We don't want that to happen in a 3 or a 5 at the back with Siddiqui and Xhaka running around, clearing things up. To me, that makes a lot of sense. But I don't think the manager's going to do this. So I'm going to put on now what I think the manager is going to do. We see basically here that it's going to be Masuaku, Alderete, Mukwele and Hume. So that means Ballard doesn't get in. And there's an argument that you could put Hume at left back and put Mukwele at right back and put Ballard centrally. There's also an argument that maybe you could move Alderete to left back. I wouldn't necessarily do that. I like players playing in the correct positions. I think the manager does as well. So I think Hume sticks in at right back, and I think we'll see Alderete and Mukwele, who've done so well together, continue at centre back. But it is interesting what he could do there. In terms of the midfield, I think you'll see the same midfield that we saw against Aston Villa with Siddiqui, Xhaka and Rig. And the front 3, I think it'll be Lafay, Isidore and Talby. That's how I think the manager will play it. I'm not necessarily against it. I just think that the 5 at the back, certainly with the suspensions and the injuries we have, might help in this game. And I think certainly on the road, we really need to target attacking set pieces to score goals, and having them 3 centre-backs there who just love attacking the ball. And we'll get on some of the weaknesses with Nottingham Forest, but I think there are benefits to having 3 at the back in terms of set pieces and helping us stay solid. So what can we expect from Nottingham Forest? Well, they haven't won a game since the opening day of the season, so there is that to think about. This is Ange's, I believe, 4th game in charge. He's had 2 Premier League games, a League Cup game, and he played a Europa League game last night. He's without a win in those first 4 games. So this isn't necessarily a team that's brimming with confidence, but he has also played 3 away games. He's played at Arsenal, he got a draw at Burnley, they got a draw in the Europa League as well, and they lost the Carabao Cup against Swansea, which was pretty embarrassing. They conceded 2 goals in that time that day. So there's chances. This isn't a team that's banging form like when we played Crystal Palace. They also have a pretty insane squad in terms of squad depth. They have loads of good players, particularly going forward. I'll list off a few here, but they've got Elliot Anderson, Morgan Gibbs-White, Hudson-Odoi, Douglas Luiz, Chris Wood, Bakwa, McAtee. Lots of attacking threats for a story about. So even though they played midweek, they'll have players that can come in, and freshen that team up. So they put a really strong team out against Real Betis, but they've got loads of depth. So, yes, they haven't played in Europe before, and that's going to be new for them. That's something we can hopefully exploit. But I also think they've got a really strong team. They're not going in with just like 13 or 14 really strong first team players. From what I've seen from certainly Forest fans, they talk about the fact that they're poor from defending crosses. That is an area that we could dominate, particularly set pieces. Can we get balls into the box? Can we, get our big centre halves up there to win headers, the long throws? Can we utilise that? And I think as well, Forest are very aggressive in the early stages of the game. They want to, in the first sort of 15-20 minutes, really get out the blocks, try and get early goals. It's imperative for us that we defend that, make sure we're in the game at 0-0. I think for us, we probably want to get in at half-time at 0-0. We don't want to go in a goal down. That changes things for us. And I think the best way for us to hurt Nottingham Forest in this game is basically be really, really organised. As we've seen from Sunderland. Sunderland are organised. Everyone looks at Sunderland and go defensively pretty solid. We need to be organised and not let them get in behind us. And then we need to utilise our counter-attacks. Look, we've not really been a threat on the road this season. We've had 2 away games. We've had 1 shot on target. We haven't created tons. I think we've got to see a bit more of an attacking threat in this game. And I think that the way that Ange plays and his high defensive line, his really, really aggressive press, probably does give players like Wilson Isidore, or Mayenda, or, if we've got Dingra playing, or we've got Talby playing, it gives all them sort of players a chance to get in and get lots and lots of space in behind that Forest back line. But look, not going to be an easy game. Going to talk about the score prediction. This is a really difficult game for Sunderland, and even though Forest aren't in the best of form, they have played in midweek, that doesn't mean that we're going to be, able to dominate this fixture. I don't think we will. I think it's going to be hard. They'll be really bang up for it. This is Ange's first ever home game. It's an evening game as well, which probably adds a little bit of spice to the atmosphere. Can we utilise the fact that they played in midweek? Can we, maybe hurt them? The fact that they've not done that. Look, this is brand new for Nottingham Forest. I'm sort of wondering, is it going to be a factor? And I think because of their squad depth, maybe it isn't, but we don't know that. They've basically played Wednesday night. They've got in Thursday. How much time are they going to have to prepare for this game? Probably not a lot. And I think we've seen under Ange that they like to start games really aggressively. So that's going to be interesting for us. Can we weather that storm? I think my head is saying that Forest probably have the edge over us, and I don't mean that, to say that we'll go here and be comfortably. I just think that their qualities, their experience, their nous is probably going to be enough to win this game at home. But much like when we played Crystal Palace, we have the ability to frustrate a team. We have the ability to annoy and be defensively solid and rigid and do all them things to give us a chance of getting something from the game. We really need to start showing a bit of an attacking threat on the road, because that is going to be an issue. If we aren't scoring goals on the road, we aren't going to pick up many points there. You can't draw 0-0 all the time. So I think we will see Regis go and try and create more in the game. And look, as time goes on and this team gets used to playing with each other more and more and more, I think we will see a bit more of an attacking threat coming out. I thought we were a better attacking threat at the weekend against Aston Villa, and I'm expecting that to improve as time goes on. So I've got two schools of thought there. I think it'll be a tight game, and I think that it'll go one goal either way. My sort of head is saying that it's likely to probably finish a draw, so I'm going to go with the 1-1, and I think that would be a really good point for Sunderland. I just think that the reason why we can draw this game probably comes from the fact that Forest's midweek game, I don't know how that's going to hurt them. They've not had a great run, to start the season. And I just think that we are so defensively organised that we might be able to frustrate them and cause issues for them. But I think it'll be really difficult. And I wouldn't be shocked if we were, to sort of fall to a 1 or 2-1 sort of defeat, because I think it's going to be a really, really hard game. But look, this Sunderland team surprised us this season. They've done well picking up points when you don't expect them to. We played an hour last week against Aston Villa and managed to pick up a draw. So this team's good. We've got a good team, and we shouldn't go there in fear, but I just think it's going to be really, really difficult for us to pick up 3 points, but I hope I am wrong. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below about this game, whether or not Sunderland can win. We'll catch you very soon for another video. I'll be going live after the game on Saturday evening just to talk through. So hopefully we'll see you on that stream. It'll probably be like, 8 o'clock, 8:30. I don't know what time the game finishes. Well, it'll finish at 6:15, 6:30, 7:15, 7:30. Yeah, probably like 8 o'clock. Something like that. We'll go live and talk about that. We'll see you very, very soon for more Sunderland related content.